The first thing Serena Hayes realized wasn't that she survived. It was that she had become a room, a place, a silent object people felt entitled to speak over because they believed the person inside was gone. The ICU ceiling above her was a pale blur she couldn't see, but she could feel the light warming the skin of her forehead when the blinds opened. She could hear the steady mechanical inhale and exhale of a ventilator, like a stranger borrowing her lungs. She could sense the tightness of tape near her mouth, the tug of tubes, the dull ache where needles lived under her skin. And then came the voices. Doctors first. Calm, clinical, careful. They spoke like they were reading weather reports. Deep coma. No purposeful response. We'll reassess in 72 hours. Serena tried to scream at the word coma. Tried to lift a finger to prove she was there. I tried to blink. I tried to do anything. Nothing moved. Not one eyelid. Not one toe. Not even the small muscles in her throat. She was awake. Fully. Terrifyingly awake. But trapped behind a body that had become a locked door. A nurse entered with squeaking shoes and a clipped tone, complaining about her shift. A second nurse responded with the kind of humor people use to survive long nights. They adjusted Serena's checked her catheter, pressed on her abdomen like she was a mannequin, and walked out, still talking, without ever saying her name. Serena, who used to walk into boardrooms and make entire floors stand straighter, lay there reduced to a vital signs rhythm. A graph. A number. The first micro-horror came when she realized, if they never tested for awareness, she could stay like this forever. A living mind buried in a body everyone had given up on. Then the visitors arrived. They came in waves, like a tide that smelled expensive. Perfume first. Then the soft click of designer shoes. Then voices that were too controlled, too polished, voices people use at funerals when they're already calculating what happens next. Poor Serena, a woman whispered. She worked so hard. It's just tragic. Tragic. Serena wanted to laugh. Tragic wasn't the word. The word was convenient. She recognized the woman by sound, the slight rasp of her breath, the way she pronounced her R's. Celeste Beaumont. A friend who'd appeared in Serena's life right around the time Hayes Development started landing municipal contracts. Celeste stepped closer. Serena felt the faint disturbance of air at her face. You know, Celeste continued, voice lowering, this could really destabilize the company. Investors don't like uncertainty. Another voice answered, male, smooth, and annoyingly familiar. We need a plan. The board will ask about succession. We can't just wait. That voice belonged to Grant Holloway, Serena's CFO. Her right hand. The man who sat beside her in earnings calls and smiled for cameras like loyalty was his natural expression. Serena's mind tightened. Grant. Planning what? Footsteps circled her bed, slow like sharks. Papers rustled. A phone vibrated. And then Serena heard the phrase that made her blood turn to ice. If she doesn't wake up, Grant said quietly, the voting shares can be consolidated. There are mechanisms. We just need the family's cooperation. Family. Her sister, Nadine, arrived an hour later, late as always, with an irritated sigh that said she resented being inconvenienced by Serena's misfortune. Nadine didn't say, I love you. Didn't say, come back. She asked the nurse, how long does this usually last? The nurse offered to practice sympathy. It varies. Nadine leaned in close enough that Serena could smell mint gum and bitterness. Serena, she murmured, if you can hear me, don't worry. I'll handle things. Handle things. Serena's brain spun. Handle what? The company? Her assets? Her life? A doctor came in to explain Serena's condition. Nadine nodded at the right moments, asked smart-sounding questions. She looked like the perfect concerned sister, until the doctor left. The moment they were alone, Nadine's voice changed. It flattened. You always had to win, Nadine whispered. Even when we were kids, you couldn't just let me have anything. A pause. Maybe this is the universe balancing the scales. Serena tried to cry. Tried to force a tear. Nothing. Nadine exhaled, as if admitting something she'd rehearsed. The board called. They want stability. If you can't speak, if you can't sign, then someone else will. And honestly, it might be better. Better. Serena's mind shouted so loud it felt like it should crack her skull. She was still here. She was still Serena Hayes. But in this bed, she was invisible. Later, Grant returned, this time with a lawyer. Serena recognized the lawyer by the crisp confidence and the faint clack of a briefcase. "We can move quickly," the lawyer said. "A conservatorship, temporary authority. It's clean." Grant hummed. "And the charitable endowments?" The lawyer replied, "We can restructure. Redirect. Nothing illegal. Just updated priorities." Updated priorities. That was the corporate way of saying, "We'll take what we want and call it strategy." Serena realized the accident hadn't just broken her body. It had opened a door for predators. And the worst part, they were smiling while they did it. Hours blurred into a cruel loop. Beep, breathe, whisper, scheme. Serena listened to strangers discuss her life like it was a spreadsheet. She was forced to hear her legacy, her decades of work, turned into bargaining chips. Then, near evening, the room quieted. The fluorescent lights softened. The ICU hallway outside dimmed, and the sound of distant carts rolled like thunder in a far-off storm. Serena hoped, stupidly, that maybe the night would bring peace. Instead, the door creaked open again. Footsteps entered that didn't sound expensive. No perfume, no polished shoes, just the soft scuff of worn soles. A man hummed under his breath while he pushed a mop bucket. The faint smell of lemon cleaner reached Serena's nose. He was a janitor, quiet, routine, invisible in the way people who clean hospitals often become. He paused near her bed. Serena heard him exhale like someone carrying too much. And then, in a voice low and steady, nothing performative, nothing fake, he spoke to her like she was a person. Not a case. Not a coma. Not a fortune. A person. "Ms. Hayes," he said, "I don't know who's been in here, but you're not alone. And you're not finished." Serena's mind slammed into that sentence. No pity. Not greed. Not a rehearsed prayer. Just truth. Her heart, whatever part of it still felt, trembled. Because for the first time since the crash, someone had spoken like he believed she could hear him. And if he believed it, what else did he see that everyone else refused to? What did this janitor know about the people circling her bed, and why did it feel like he'd just stepped into the story at exactly the right moment? What would you do if you heard your closest allies planning your downfall while you couldn't move? Would you stay silent and listen, or would you find any way to fight back? Tell me in the comments. And as the janitor leaned closer, Serena's mind raced with one terrifying thought. Was he about to help her? Or was he about to reveal something that would destroy her forever? Why did his "you're not finished" sound like a warning? The janitor didn't pray. He didn't apologize for her suffering. He didn't whisper a cliché. He did something far more dangerous. He told the truth out loud. The mop bucket stopped beside Serena's bed with a soft clink. The man, mid-40s maybe, deep voice, careful steps, stood there longer than any staff member ever did. It wasn't the lingering of curiosity. It was the lingering of recognition, like he'd seen this type of room before, and he knew what happened in it. "My name's Marcus Reed," he said quietly, as if introducing himself to someone awake. "I'm on nights." Serena tried to react, to blink, to show him yes. Her mind threw itself against her body like a prisoner shaking a locked gate. Nothing. Marcus didn't move away. He continued like he could sense the panic under her stillness. "I saw your picture on the wall," he said, and Serena pictured the hospital's donation board, rich names engraved in metal. "They call you an inspiration." A pause. Then, softer, "But I don't trust what people call you when you can't answer back." Serena's stomach tightened. That was oddly specific. Marcus shifted, and Serena heard the faint creak of plastic as he pulled a chair closer. A janitor sitting in an ICU room was unusual, almost suspicious. But he didn't sound like he cared about rules. He sounded like he cared about something else. "You know what I do?" he asked. "I clean up what people leave behind. And sometimes what people leave behind is uglier than blood." Serena's mind snapped to attention. Uglier than blood. Marcus leaned forward until his voice dropped to a hush. "Today, 2 men in suits came in here. Though nobody was listening. They talked about your shares like you're already a ghost." Serena felt a cold wave inside her chest. She heard them too. But hearing it from someone else, someone outside their circle, made it real in a way that sharpened her fear. Marcus continued. "And your sister? She came in." She smiled at the nurse. Then she said things when the nurse left. A beat. Things you don't say to someone you love. Serena screamed internally, "Yes. Yes. Tell me." Marcus sighed like a man who'd been carrying this all day. "Ms. Hayes, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm going to talk like you can." Another pause. "Because my daddy taught me something. When the world decides you're powerless, that's exactly when you listen hardest." Serena's mind fixated on the word daddy. Marcus's voice grew warmer, but not sentimental. "My father was a hospital orderly for 26 years. Black man. Big hands. Gentle heart. Folks treated him like he was invisible." Marcus let out a small, humorless laugh. "And he used to tell me, 'Son, rich people don't always get more money. Sometimes they just got more permission.'" Serena felt that sentence landed like a weight. More permission. Permission to whisper over her bed. Permission to reassign her life. Permission to treat her like a thing. Marcus's father's wisdom cut through the sterile air. It wasn't a motivational quote. It was survival knowledge. Marcus went on. He also said, "The measure of a person ain't what they own. It's how they behave when they think nobody can hold them accountable." Serena's mind flashed. Grant's voice. Nadine's words. Celeste's fake sympathy. They behaved like wolves because they thought she couldn't bite back. Marcus stood and rolled the mop slowly, as if continuing his job while he delivered a lifeline. "I don't know what kind of woman you were before this," he said honestly. "Maybe you were tough. Maybe you stepped on some toes." He paused. "But I do know this. Nobody deserves to be robbed while they're still breathing." Robbed. That word cracked something open in Serena's mind. Because it wasn't just about money. It was about her dignity, her voice, her existence. Marcus moved closer again. "Here's what I noticed," he whispered. "When the nurse checked your vitals earlier, your heart rate changed when she said your name. Not much, but it changed." Serena's thoughts surged. He noticed I reacted. Marcus continued, careful, like he didn't want hope to shatter too loudly. "When Grant mentioned consolidating voting shares earlier." Marcus paused. Your breathing pattern shifted. Serena's mind screamed, "Yes. I heard it. I panicked." Marcus's tone hardened. "That ain't a coma. That's fear." The room felt smaller, more intimate, more dangerous. Marcus reached into his pocket. Serena heard the soft tap of plastic. A pen. He set it on the tray table. "I can't touch you," he said. "They'd fire me. Maybe arrest me." He breathed out. "But I can do one thing." He spoke each word like a step across thin ice. "I can tell the right person to look closer." Serena's mind tried to push a yes out into the world. Her heart hammered. Monitors might show it. Would they notice? Marcus continued, "There's a neurologist on day shift, Dr. Meera Patel. She's different. She watches people like she's listening to their silence." A beat. "If you can hear me, I need you to give me something. Anything." Serena's mind spun. "How?" Marcus leaned in. "When I count to 3, if you can hear me, change your breathing. Just a little. Faster. Slower. Anything." Serena gathered every ounce of will she had. It felt like trying to lift a car with one eyelash. "1," Marcus said. Serena focused on the machine's rhythm. Inhale, exhale, trying to force her panic into the pattern. Her mind pressed against her diaphragm like a hand against glass. 2. Her thoughts sharpened like a blade. She imagined the air speeding. She imagined her chest rising quicker, even if the ventilator was doing it. She begged her body to fight the machine. 3. For a fraction of a moment, Serena felt it, an almost imperceptible shift. The monitor beep changed tempo. Not much, but enough that Marcus's breath caught. He went still. Then, so softly it was almost reverent, he said, Okay, you're in there." Serena's mind nearly collapsed from relief. Someone believed her. Marcus straightened. "All right," he whispered. "I'm going to do what my daddy would do. I'm going to make noise in the right direction." A pause. "But Ms. Hayes, if I help you wake up, you need to be ready for what you'll learn." "What will I learn?" Marcus's voice lowered further, edged with something Serena couldn't place. Anger? Fear? "The crash," he said. "I overheard something in the supply closet. 2 staff members talking. Not doctors." He hesitated. They said your accident wasn't clean. Serena's mind froze. Not clean. Marcus stepped back toward the door, hand on the mop handle, as if preparing to vanish before anyone noticed he'd stayed too long. I'll get Dr. Patel, he promised. But you need to hold on. Hold on. The room returned to its mechanical rhythm. But Serena was no longer alone in her silence. She was a witness. And now, she had an ally, one who wasn't dazzled by her wealth, only disgusted by the way people treated her when they thought she couldn't fight back. If stories like this pull you in, where the truth is buried under power and people's masks start slipping, subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because Serena is about to discover who really caused the crash. And as Marcus slipped out, Serena's mind raced. If the accident wasn't clean, then who wanted her gone? And how deep did Grant and Nadine's plan really go? Was Marcus about to save her, or put a target on his own back? The next morning, Serena learned a cruel rule of hospitals. Daylight doesn't bring mercy. It brings witnesses. Her room filled with new sounds, fresh shoes, clipped voices, the gentle authority of staff who believed they were in control. Serena couldn't see them, but she could map them by movement. A cart rolling in, gloves snapping, a stethoscope brushing fabric. Someone was adjusting her pillow like she was arranging furniture. And then, a voice she hadn't heard before. Good morning, Ms. Hayes. The voice said, female, calm and direct. I'm Dr. Mira Patel. Serena's mind flared. Marcus found her. Dr. Patel didn't speak like Serena was absent. She spoke like Serena was listening, like respect was a default. I'm going to run a few checks, she said. Some will seem simple, but simple things matter. A pause. Paper rustled. The notes say no purposeful response. Dr. Patel's tone didn't accuse, but didn't accept either. I prefer to verify with my own eyes. Serena's heart hammered. Dr. Patel moved closer. Serena sensed her presence near the bed, still focused, not rushed, not bored. Ms. Hayes, Dr. Patel said, if you can hear me, I want you to try something. Don't worry if you can't move. Just try. Serena threw every ounce of will into her eyelids again like yesterday. Dr. Patel continued, sometimes people are awake, but unable to express it. When that happens, we must become the voice they can't use. Serena's mind practically sobbed. Dr. Patel asked the nurse to reduce distractions. The room quieted. Machines continued, but human noise softened. Here's what we'll do, Dr. Patel said. I'm going to ask yes or no questions. If you can control any movement at all, even a blink, we'll find it. A nurse scoffed quietly. Serena heard it, small, dismissive. Dr. Patel didn't react to the scoff. She simply proceeded. Ms. Hayes, are you able to hear my voice? Dr. Patel asked. Serena tried to blink. Nothing. But her breathing pattern shifted slightly, panic and hope mixing into one desperate rhythm. Dr. Patel paused. Okay, she said calmly, as if she'd expected this. Breathing shift noted. The nurse's tone changed just a bit. Could be reflex. Dr. Patel replied, could be. Or it could be communication. Serena's mind clung to that word, communication. Dr. Patel asked several more questions, steady and patient. Serena tried everything, imagining movement, forcing attention into her eyes, her throat, her tongue. The more she tried, the more she realized how helpless she truly was. Then Dr. Patel changed tactics. I'm going to touch your hand, she said. If you can feel it, focus on the sensation. Sometimes focused attention produces measurable changes. Dr. Patel's fingers were warm. Serena felt the pressure at her knuckles. She poured her mind into that warmth like it was a lifeline. The heart monitor blipped faster. Dr. Patel's voice sharpened with quiet excitement. There it is, she murmured. Again. Ms. Hayes, if you can hear me, I want you to imagine squeezing my fingers. Just imagine. Serena imagined it so hard her mind ached. The monitor sped again, just enough. Dr. Patel exhaled slowly. Not coma, she said under her breath. Not the way they think. The nurse stiffened. Doctor. Dr. Patel cut in gently. I need privacy, she said. Please. Footsteps retreated. The door clicked. Now it was just Dr. Patel, Serena, and the machines. Dr. Patel's voice softened. You're awake, she said. I'm almost sure. A beat. And if you are, I am sorry. Sorry because nobody looked. Because they spoke over her. Because they tried to steal her life while she listened. Dr. Patel continued, there's a condition called locked-in syndrome. Rare. Often missed. A pause. But not invisible if someone cares enough to look. Serena's mind screamed gratitude. Then Dr. Patel said something that made Serena's relief curdle. Ms. Hayes, before I confirm anything officially, she said, I need to ask, do you feel safe with your visitors? Safe? Serena thought of Grant, Nadine, Celeste, the lawyer, the word conservatorship, the phrase not clean. Her heart rate jumped. Dr. Patel noticed. That's a no, she whispered. The room suddenly felt like a battlefield. Because if Serena was awake, then the people who were planning to take her down had a new problem. She wasn't a helpless body anymore. She was a witness who could return. Dr. Patel spoke with calm urgency. Here's what's going to happen, she said. I'm going to request an EEG and specialized responsiveness tests. I'm also going to note possible awareness. She paused. But if I do that, the wrong people might hear. And if the wrong people hear, they may try to silence you further. Serena's mind flashed to the crash, to sabotage, to not clean. Dr. Patel continued, so I need to ask you something else. Her voice lowered. Did you suspect anyone wanted you out of the company before the accident? Serena's mind raced backward. Board tensions, missed meetings, Grant's sudden confidence, Nadine's resentful bitterness, Celeste's opportunistic friendship. Pieces that never mattered before now felt like clues in a murder mystery. Her heart rate spiked again. Dr. Patel's tone hardened with certainty. Okay, she said. We proceed carefully. Dr. Patel stood, and Serena heard her pull something from her pocket. A small click. A phone? A recorder? Then she stopped herself. No, Dr. Patel muttered. Paper only. Paper only, because electronic trails could be found. Serena realized this wasn't just medicine anymore. This was protection. Dr. Patel moved toward the door. Before leaving, she leaned close and whispered, Hold on, Ms. Hayes. Someone believed you yesterday. I believe you today. And soon, you'll have a way to speak. Serena's mind clung to the promise. But as Dr. Patel stepped out, another set of footsteps approached, fast, purposeful. A familiar scent of expensive cologne slipped into the room like poison. Grant. He spoke before he even reached the bed. Dr. Patel, he said in the hallway, voice too friendly. I heard you requested additional tests. Is that necessary? Dr. Patel's reply was calm. I evaluate my patients as I see fit. Grant chuckled. Of course. We all want what's best for Serena. Then his voice dipped. But unnecessary complications can cause panic. Investors are already nervous. Investors. Always investors. Serena's mind screamed, he knows. He's watching. Dr. Patel didn't take the bait. Medical decisions aren't made for investors, she said. A pause. Then Grant's tone sharpened, just a hint. No, they're made for the patient. And Serena can't consent, can she? Consent. Serena's heart pounded. Because Grant was right in the most dangerous way. If other people could claim to speak for her. And some of those people wanted her silenced. What would you do if you realized the person controlling your company might also be controlling your medical future? Would you trust the system, or would you start planning your revenge from inside the bed? Tell me in the comments. And as Grant stepped into Serena's room, his voice dropped into something chillingly gentle. Hey, Serena, he murmured. Still sleeping. Was Grant here to check on her, or to confirm she'd never wake up at all? And if Serena's heart monitor could betray her, how long before Grant noticed the truth? Grant Holloway stood beside Serena's bed like he owned the air in the room. He spoke softly, carefully, like a man who understood optics. I brought flowers, he said. Your favorites. Serena wanted to spit. She couldn't even swallow on command. Grant set the bouquet down. The crinkle of plastic sounded loud in the sterile quiet. He leaned in, voice warm enough to fool anyone listening outside. You gave me my first shot, he whispered. You took a chance on me. I won't forget that. A pause. Then his voice changed, just enough that Serena's mind caught it. The softness wasn't affection. It was controlled. I've been handling things, he continued. Keeping the board calm. Keeping Nadine from making emotional decisions. He sighed like a martyr. It's a lot, but for you, I'll carry it. Carry it, straight into his own pocket. Serena's heart rate ticked up. Grant paused. He stared at the monitor. Serena couldn't see him, but she could feel his attention pivot. He murmured. They adjusted your sedation. Sedation. Serena's mind sharpened into fear. If they sedated her, she'd lose even the small shifts she could produce. Grant stepped out into the hallway. Serena heard low conversation, Grant and a nurse murmuring. Words like comfort, agitation, protocol. Serena couldn't catch all of it, but she caught enough. Grant was pushing for something. He returned. Relax, he whispered to Serena, as if she could choose that. You've earned rest. Then he did something that made Serena's mind go cold. He leaned close to her ear, close enough that his breath warmed her skin, and he said, If you can hear me, don't make this harder. Serena's heart jolted. Grant stayed still for a beat, watching the monitor like it was a lie detector. Serena tried to steady her breathing, tried to hide inside the machine's rhythm. But panic had a mind of its own. The monitor beeped faster. Grant exhaled softly. Not surprised. Not shocked. Confirmed. He straightened. So you're in there, he whispered, almost amused. That's inconvenient. Inconvenient. Serena felt a wave of helpless rage. He knew. He knew she was awake. And now he could act accordingly. Grant's voice was velvet over steel. You built an empire, he said. But you were never the only one holding it up. He tapped the bed rail lightly, like knocking on a door. I've been doing the heavy lifting for years, Serena. You just got the magazine covers. Serena's mind replayed meetings, deals, the way Grant always volunteered to handle details, the way she trusted him because he performed loyalty so well. Grant continued, the board respects you. They fear you, but they need stability. And stability means someone who can sign papers, someone who can speak. He paused, then delivered the knife. And you can't. Serena tried to force a tear, tried to plead with her eyes. Nothing. Grant sighed theatrically. Don't worry, he said. I'll take care of your legacy. Legacy, like he was burying her. He stepped back, voice lowering into something almost intimate. You always believed wealth meant you could control outcomes, he whispered. But here's the funny thing. Money doesn't matter when you can't move. That sentence hit Serena harder than the crash. Because it was true. In this bed, her wealth was locked outside with her voice. Her status didn't stop betrayal. Her power didn't stop cruelty. What mattered now was something she hadn't prioritized in years, genuine human connection. Trustworthy hearts. People who did the right thing even when there was nothing to gain. People like Marcus. Grant turned toward the door as if he'd finished. Then he hesitated, like a man remembering a loose end. Oh, he said lightly. Dr. Patel is very curious. That can be dangerous. For her. Serena's mind snapped into terror. He was threatening Dr. Patel. Grant left the room. Minutes later, Dr. Patel returned, breathing slightly faster than before. Her voice was calm, but Serena could hear the tension under it. Ms. Hayes, she whispered, we have a problem. Serena's mind screamed, he knows. He knows. Dr. Patel moved closer. Someone requested increased sedation, she said. Someone with influence. A pause. I blocked it. For now. For now. Serena's mind latched onto the time limit. Dr. Patel continued, I need to establish a reliable communication method quickly. If they label you agitated or non-compliant, they can justify sedating you. Her voice tightened. And if that happens, you may not get another chance. Another chance. Serena's heart pounded. Dr. Patel placed something gently on Serena's chest, cool plastic. A small sensor? I'm going to run an assessment, she said. If you can shift your breathing on command, we can code yes and no. Yes and no. A way to speak. Dr. Patel began. Ms. Hayes, she said, for yes, increase your breathing rate slightly. For a no, slow it. She paused. Practice. Is your name Serena Hayes? Serena forced her mind into urgency, sped the rhythm. The monitor responded. Dr. Patel's breath caught. Yes, she whispered. Serena's mind surged with relief, so powerful it felt like oxygen itself. Dr. Patel continued, Are you in danger from someone close to you? Serena sped her breathing again. Yes. Dr. Patel's face, unseen, seemed to harden. Okay, she whispered. Then we treat this like protection. Not just medicine. Protection. Dr. Patel leaned closer. I can't accuse anyone without evidence, she said. But I can control access. I can document things. I can request security. A pause. But Ms. Hayes, if your crash was not an accident, you need allies outside this hospital. Allies. Serena thought of one man, Marcus. Dr. Patel asked, do you trust the janitor who spoke to you last night? Serena breathed faster. Yes. Dr. Patel exhaled. Good, she whispered. Because I think someone is watching him too. Watching him too. Serena's mind went cold. If Grant suspected Marcus helped, Marcus could be targeted. And if Marcus was targeted, Serena would lose the only person who spoke to her like she mattered. If this story is hitting you, power, betrayal, and the fight for a voice, subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because Serena is about to risk everything to protect the one man who treated her like a human being. And when Dr. Patel stepped out to make arrangements, Serena heard footsteps in hallway. Two men, not nurses, not doctors. Their shoes were heavy. Security. Or something else. Were they coming to protect Serena or to silence her? And if Marcus was being watched, what did he already know that made him dangerous? That night, Serena learned another rule. When you can't move, time becomes a weapon. The room was darker. The staff rotated. The air felt colder, like the building itself was holding its breath. Serena listened to every sound, the drip of the distant intercom, the soft sigh of the ventilator, because sound was all she had. Then she heard the door open, not with the gentle caution of nurses. With purpose. Two voices entered, male, unfamiliar, low. Room 612, one said. Is this her? Yeah, the other replied. Z. Big money. Serena's mind snapped into panic. They didn't sound like staff. They sounded like men who didn't belong in healing spaces. A chair scraped. One of them leaned close enough that Serena smelled cigarette smoke embedded in his jacket. She's out, he muttered. Doesn't matter. The other man chuckled. Boss wants confirmation. I want to know she won't wake up and start talking. Boss. Serena's heart hammered. They were here because someone Grant? Nadine? Someone else wanted certainty. The first man said, we could do it clean. Make it look like a complication. Serena's mind screamed. This wasn't about paperwork anymore. This was about murder dressed as medicine. The second man opened something. Plastic crinkled, a cap twisted. What's this? Sedative, the first said. A nurse friend hooked it up. Nurse friend. Serena's mind flashed to the earlier attempt, someone requesting sedation. This was the end game. Serena tried to spike her breathing, to set off alarms, to force attention. The monitor beeped faster. The men paused. See, the second whispered. It changes. The first man stared at the monitor. Huh. He leaned in. Joe, are you awake there? Serena's mind surged with terror. She couldn't answer, but her body betrayed her fear. The first man's voice hardened. That's a problem. He reached toward her foreline. And then another sound. A mop bucket will squeaked faintly in the hallway. A familiarum. Marcus. The door opened again. Evening, Marcus said casual, like he hadn't walked into a nightmare. The two men turned. Who the hell are you? Marcus didn't flinch. Housekeeping, he replied. Y'all in the wrong room. Visiting hours are over. The first man stepped forward. We're family. Marcus let out a small laugh, soft, sharp. Funny, he said, because I've cleaned this floor for 2 years, and I've never seen either of you pray at a bedside. Never seen either of you cry. Never seen either of you say her name, like it matters. The second man's tone turned threatening. Walk away. Marcus didn't. His voice stayed steady. My daddy used to say, a hospital is where the truth shows up. Folks can fake love in public, but at 2 a.m., only the real ones stay. The first man moved toward Marcus. You want trouble? Marcus's voice lowered. No, he said, but I'm not scared of it. Serena's mind screamed, leave Marcus. Please. Marcus continued, also, cameras are right there. He pointed. And Dr. Patel? She's got eyes on this room tonight. Was that true? Or was Marcus bluffing? The first man hesitated just long enough. Marcus stepped closer to the bed, blocking them. Ms. Hayes's vitals are unstable, he said loudly, theatrical now. If something happens, you'll be the last one seen here. The second man cursed under his breath. We don't have time for this. The first man leaned toward Marcus, voice venomous. You don't know what you're stepping into, janitor. Marcus's reply was quiet, but lethal. I know exactly, he said. I'm stepping between a living woman and the people trying to bury her while she's still breathing. A beat. Then Marcus did something Serena will never forget. He raised his voice, loud enough to carry into the hallway. Nurse. Marcus shouted. I need a nurse in here right now. Footsteps thundered outside. A door opened down the hall. Someone called back, what's going on? The two men panicked. They shoved past Marcus, moving fast toward the exit. Before leaving, the first man turned back and hissed, you just made yourself a problem. Then they were gone. The room was filled with staff, nurse, another nurse, security. Confusion. Questions. Lights flashing. Serena's heart pounded like it would break the monitor. Dr. Patel arrived moments later, voice sharp. Who were they? Marcus answered calmly, not family. The nurse tried to downplay it. Maybe they were confused. Dr. Patel cut her off. No, she said. They weren't. Marcus leaned closer to Dr. Patel and lowered his voice. They had something, he said. A syringe. Dr. Patel's tone went icy. Get me the charge nurse. Now. The room became a storm of protocols. Serena lay at the center, silent but aware of everything, like a queen chained to her throne while an uprising erupted around her. After the staff cleared, Marcus stayed behind for a moment, as if guarding the doorway with his body. He leaned close to Serena and whispered, I told you, he said. You're not finished. Serena's mind tried to say thank you, tried to send any sign. Her breathing spiked. Yes, yes, yes. Marcus's voice softened. Ms. Hayes, he murmured, they don't just want your money. They want your silence. A pause. And if they're sending men into your room, this started before the crash. Before the crash. Serena's mind froze. Then Marcus added, I heard one of them say, boss. I don't know who that is yet. A beat, but I do know one thing. He breathed in slowly. The people with the most to gain are usually the ones closest. Serena thought of Grant, Nadine, Celeste. Her mind burned. If you were Serena and a janitor just risked his job, maybe his life, to save you, would you trust him completely, or would you still fear everyone, even the only ally you have? Tell me in the comments. And as Marcus stepped away, Serena caught one last detail. A faint, familiar cologne lingering near the doorway. Expensive, corporate, controlled. Was Grant nearby when those men entered? And if this began before the crash, did Serena ever truly know the people she built her empire with? By morning, Serena's room no longer felt like a hospital. It felt like a secured facility. A new guard stood outside. The staff spoke more carefully. Doors clicked with coded locks. Dr. Patel moved with the focused urgency of someone who had stopped assuming the best in people. Serena lay still, listening, trying to stay calm, because now she understood. Fear could betray her through the monitor. Dr. Patel approached with a small device. Ms. Hayes, she said quietly, we're going to formalize communication. Formalize. That meant evidence. Documentation. Something Grant couldn't dismiss as reflex. Dr. Patel explained in simple steps, her tone respectful. We'll use breathing modulation as yes/no for now. Later, we'll try eye tracking. She paused. But first, I need you to answer hard questions. Hard questions. Serena's mind braced. Dr. Patel began. Is Grant Holloway involved in harming you? Serena sped her breathing. Yes. Dr. Patel didn't flinch, but Serena felt the atmosphere change. Is your sister involved? Serena hesitated. Nadine was cruel, resentful, but murder? Serena's breathing slowed and Dr. Patel nodded. Does your sister know something? Serena sped her breathing. Yes. Dr. Patel's voice stayed steady. Is Celeste Beaumont involved? Serena breathed faster. Yes. Dr. Patel exhaled slowly. Okay, she whispered. We need a legal firewall. Immediately. A legal firewall meant lawyers, good ones. not Grant's. Dr. Patel continued, do you have someone you trust outside the company? A lawyer of your own? Serena's breathing slowed and that admission hurt. Serena had money, power, influence, but no one she fully trusted. True wealth, she realized, wasn't in accounts. It wasn't in titles. It was in people who wouldn't sell your soul when you couldn't defend it. People like Marcus. Dr. Patel leaned closer. Then we create trust, she said. We build it fast. She left to make calls. And that was when the pressure began. Grant arrived with Nadine. Their voices floated into the room before they entered, polished concern, rehearsed unity. Nadine's voice, we need to see her. Grant's voice, we're family and executive leadership. You can't lock us out. The guard hesitated. Dr. Patel's voice cut in, firm. She's under medical evaluation. Visits are restricted. Grant laughed lightly. Doctor, this is becoming excessive. Excessive, like Serena's safety was inconvenient. They entered anyway, because power always tries the door. Grant approached the bed, voice gentle. Hey, Serena, we're here. He turned slightly, speaking to Nadine like Serena couldn't hear. See? Same. Nadine sighed. I hate seeing her like this, she said, but there was no warmth. Only irritation. Grant's tone shifted to business. Dr. Patel, he said, we need to discuss the company. He pulled papers out. We can't pause operations because Serena is unresponsive. Unresponsive. Dr. Patel looked at him. Your company is not my patient. Grant's smile thinned. No, he said, but Serena is. And Serena would want her legacy protected. Dr. Patel replied, then protect her health. Grant stepped closer to Dr. Patel, lowering his voice. We're all on the same team, he said. So why are you acting like we're not? Because you're lying, Serena thought. Nadine spoke suddenly, almost too casually. So what's the plan? Are you keeping her on the machines forever? Forever. Serena's mind screamed, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Dr. Patel's tone remained controlled. We're assessing awareness. Grant's smile froze. Just for a fraction. Awareness, he repeated. You think she's aware? Serena felt her pulse leap. Grant glanced at the monitor. Serena forced herself to stay calm. To hide. Dr. Patel continued, it's a possibility in some cases. Grant's voice softened. Doctor, he said, I respect your work. But these tests can give families false hope. False hope. He was trying to shut it down. Dr. Patel didn't blink. Hope isn't the issue, she said. Accuracy is. Grant's tone cooled. We also need to consider stress. If she's agitated, if her vitals spike, sedation may be necessary. Serena's mind went cold. He was pushing sedation again. Dr. Patel held his gaze. Sedation will only be used if medically required. Grant smiled. Of course, he said, just thinking ahead. Then he turned toward Serena's bed, voice intimate. Serena, he whispered, if you can hear me, you don't have to suffer. You can rest. Rest forever. Dr. Patel stepped between Grant and the bed. That's enough, she said. Grant's eyes narrowed. Doctor, he said quietly, you're making enemies. Dr. Patel's voice was calm. Then I'm doing my job. Grant took a slow breath, then pivoted, new tactic. He addressed Nadine. Maybe we should consult another physician. Second opinion. Nadine nodded quickly. Yes. Someone more experienced. More controllable. Dr. Patel's response was sharp. You're welcome to request a second opinion, she said, but you will not interfere with care. Grant turned to leave, then paused at the door, as if remembering something. He looked at Serena, stared at her really. His voice dropped. If you're awake, he whispered, barely audible, blink for me. Serena couldn't, but her breathing trembled for half a second. Grant's mouth curved, small, satisfied. Then he left. After they were gone, Dr. Patel returned to Serena's side, voice urgent. He suspects, she said. We accelerate. Acceleration meant risk. Dr. Patel leaned close. I'm bringing in an independent patient advocate, she said, and I'm contacting a state investigator about the attempted sedation. She paused. But Ms. Hayes, to protect you legally, we need proof of your awareness that can hold up. Hold up. Serena's mind burned with one question. How do you prove you're alive when your body refuses to testify? If you want to keep following this fight, where a powerless voice is about to become evidence, subscribe, because Serena's first real statement is coming, and it could destroy Grant's entire plan. And as Dr. Patel adjusted Serena's sensors, the guard outside suddenly spoke into his radio. We have a situation. Someone's trying to access the floor records. Who is pulling records, Grant or someone even bigger? And if they erase the evidence, how will Serena ever prove she's awake before they silence her for good? Serena's first true weapon wasn't money. It was a memory. That afternoon, Dr. Patel sat beside the bed with a legal notepad. No phone, no tablet. Ms. Hayes, she said, I'm going to ask you to recall the night of the crash. A pause. If you can answer yes/no, we can map facts. Serena's mind tightened. The crash was a blur of sound and impact, but there were fragments. A scent. A voice. A detail she ignored at the time. Dr. Patel started gently. Were you leaving a charity event? Serena breathed faster. Yes. Were you with your usual driver? Serena slowed. No. That surprised even Serena. She remembered now. Her driver had called out sick. Last minute. An emergency. Dr. Patel's pen scratched quickly. Was the replacement arranged by your office? Yes. Serena felt the pieces shift. Dr. Patel asked, was Grant involved in arranging it? Serena's breathing speed, yes. Dr. Patel's jaw tightened. Did you argue with Grant earlier that week? Serena paused, then yes. She remembered it now, a board prep meeting. Serena refused to sign off on a sudden restructuring of charitable housing funds, money that was supposed to build affordable units. Grant had smiled patient. It's just timing, Serena. We'll circle back. Serena had snapped. No. We do it right or we don't do it at all. Dr. Patel's questions sharpened. Did the crash happen after you refused something? Yes. Dr. Patel exhaled slowly. Okay, she whispered. We're building a motive. Motive. Serena's mind raced. Grant wanted control. He wanted the money unmonitored. Serena was in the way. Dr. Patel continued. Did anyone else know about your disagreement? Serena thought of Celeste, always near, always listening. Yes. Dr. Patel wrote it down. Then she asked, did you hear anything unusual in the car before impact? A warning. A call. Serena searched her memory. And then the fragment returned like a shard of glass. A phone call. She remembered the driver's voice, nervous. Yes, sir. A pause. Understood. Serena's breathing speed, yes. Dr. Patel's pen froze. You heard the driver say yes, sir? Yes. Dr. Patel's eyes narrowed. Did you recognize the voice on the other end? Serena hesitated. She didn't hear the other voice clearly. But she heard the driver's tone, deferential, afraid. The kind of tone employees use with Grant. Serena's breathing speed, yes. Dr. Patel's face hardened. Okay, she said. That's huge. But memory alone wasn't enough. They needed proof that Serena could communicate reliably. So Dr. Patel set up a structured test. Yes/no questions with known answers. Repeated patterns. Consistency. Everything recorded in written logs, witnessed by independent staff. And Serena did it, again and again, pushing her breathing into coded answers until the exhaustion felt like fire under her skin. The results were undeniable. But denial is a powerful drug for people who want you quiet. Grant returned later that evening with a consultant neurologist, someone Dr. Patel hadn't requested. The consultant's voice was slick, dismissive. I don't see a purposeful response, the consultant said. These are autonomic fluctuations. Autonomic. Reflex. Nothing. Dr. Patel challenged him politely, but firmly. She presented logs. Witness notes. The consultant shrugged. Stress. Randomness. Serena's mind screamed, liar. Grant stepped in, tone concerned. Dr. Patel, he said, I appreciate your passion. But we can't build an entire medical narrative on wishful interpretation. Wishful. He was gaslighting medicine. Dr. Patel's voice turned cold. This isn't passion, she said. It's evidence. Grant smiled. Evidence needs consensus. Consensus. Meaning, people he controlled. Serena realized the system could be bent, not by money alone, but by influence, by relationships, by the quiet pressure powerful people apply behind closed doors. That night, Marcus returned. He didn't come in loudly. He slipped in like someone who understood danger. "Ms. Hayes," he whispered, "they're trying to discredit Dr. Patel." Serena's breathing sped. Yes, she knew. Marcus's voice tightened. "My daddy told me, when the truth scares powerful folks, they don't argue with it. They bury the messenger." Bury the messenger. Serena's mind flashed to Dr. Patel's tired voice. Her careful secrecy. Marcus continued. "I got something," he said. "Not proof, but a lead." He hesitated. "The night of your crash, I was working at the lower level. I saw a man in a suit come in, angry, moving fast. Not family, not staff. He went straight to the security office." Security office. Serena's mind flared. Marcus added, "I didn't think anything of it then. But now, I remember his tie, his watch. He looked like the men who come here to handle things." "Handle things, erase footage?" Marcus whispered, "If we can get the security footage from that night, we can find out who came in and why." Security footage could confirm sabotage, could show who accessed records, could reveal the boss. But Serena also knew, if Grant was already pulling records, that footage might already be gone. Dr. Patel stepped in quietly behind Marcus. "We can request it officially," she said. "But if Grant has influence, they might delay." Delay meant deletion. Serena's breathing spiked. "Yes." Dr. Patel looked at Marcus. "Can you access it?" she asked. Marcus shook his head. "Not without getting caught." A pause. Then Marcus said something that made the room feel like it tilted. "My father still knows people here," he whispered. "Old school folks. The ones who don't care about suits." He swallowed. "But if I ask them, it'll put spotlight on us." Spotlight. Target. Serena's mind screamed, "Don't risk yourself." But what was the alternative? To let Grant erase the only proof? If you were in Serena's place, would you risk exposing the only ally you have to get the evidence, or would you stay quiet and hope the truth survives on its own? Tell me in the comments. And as Marcus stepped toward the door, he paused and whispered, "Ms. Hayes, what if the boss isn't Grant? What if Grant was only a middleman, and the real power was someone Serena trusted even more? And if the footage disappears tonight, will Serena ever get another chance to prove the crash was planned?" The next day, the hospital's security office couldn't locate the footage. Not lost, not corrupted, just suddenly unavailable. Dr. Patel's voice stayed professional, but Serena could hear fury under it. "That's irregular," she told the security supervisor. "Footage is archived." The supervisor's reply was careful. "We're looking into it." Looking into it meant stalling. Marcus stood near the doorway, quiet. He didn't speak unless asked because he understood something Serena was only now learning. In systems controlled by power, silence is often the first weapon used against truth. Dr. Patel returned to Serena's bedside. "They're erasing," she whispered. Serena's breathing speed, "Yes." Dr. Patel leaned closer. "So we pivot," she said. "We don't need their footage. We need your voice, legally recognized." Legally recognized. That meant court, affidavits, independent verification, the kind of official recognition that could block Grant's conservatorship attempts. Dr. Patel arranged for a patient advocate and a state-appointed medical evaluator to assess Serena. The evaluator's tone was neutral, methodical. He ran structured tests. He repeated them. He documented everything. Serena answered. Again and again. At the end, the evaluator said the word Serena had been waiting to hear. Awareness consistent with locked-in syndrome. Communication present via respiratory modulation. Serena's mind nearly collapsed with relief. Dr. Patel exhaled. "Now we can protect you," she whispered. "But protection has a price." Grant escalated. He didn't show up screaming. He showed up smiling, holding a folder, surrounded by people in suits like a man staging a press conference in a hospital hallway. "I'm concerned," Grant said loudly enough for the staff to hear. "This is becoming dramatic." Dramatic. He was shaping the narrative. Dr. Patel was overzealous, Serena as fragile, everyone else as rational. Grant approached Serena with practiced tenderness. "Serena," he said softly, "if you're aware, I'm so glad." Serena wanted to laugh. "I wanted to bite." Grant turned to the evaluator. Doctor, he said, with respect, awareness doesn't mean competence. She may be confused. Traumatized. Competence. There it was. He wasn't denying she was awake now. He was trying to claim she still couldn't make decisions. Dr. Patel countered. Locked-in patients are often cognitively intact. Grant nodded like he agreed. Often, he repeated, but not always. Then he delivered his new move. I filed for temporary conservatorship, he announced. Serena's mind went cold. Conservatorship would hand her life to someone else. Someone like Grant. Dr. Patel's voice sharpened. You can't do that without family. Grant smiled and looked at Nadine, who stood beside him, arms crossed, eyes hard. Nadine said, I'm family. Serena's mind screamed betrayal. Nadine had said no to involvement, but yes to knowledge. Serena understood now. Nadine didn't have to plan murder to participate in theft. Resentment was enough. Grant continued, This isn't personal, he said. It's my responsibility. Responsibility wrapped around greed. The evaluator looked uncomfortable. This needs court review, he said. Grant nodded, satisfied. Exactly, he said. And until then, Serena will receive care according to stability. Stability. Sedation. Dr. Patel stepped forward. You will not sedate a conscious patient for convenience. Grant's smile thinned. We'll let the court decide what's convenient, he replied. That night, Dr. Patel met with Marcus privately in the hallway. Serena could hear muffled voices through the door. Marcus said something that stopped Dr. Patel. I can get you the footage, Marcus whispered. Not the hospitals. A pause. The street cameras. Street cameras. Dr. Patel's voice rose slightly. Traffic cams. Marcus said, My cousin works city maintenance. He told me the intersection where your car entered the highway, there's a cam that captures the on-ramp. If someone tampered with your car, if a truck was positioned, it might show something. Serena's mind surged. Real proof. But Marcus sounded hesitant. To get it, he said, we'd have to request it, or we'd have to pull it quietly before it gets lost. Quietly. Risk. Dr. Patel whispered, If we do this wrong, we expose ourselves. Marcus replied, My daddy used to say, sometimes the law shows up late, so you gotta protect the truth until the law catches up. Protect the truth. Serena realized true wealth again, not the empire, but the people willing to stand between truth and power. Dr. Patel came back in and leaned over Serena. Ms. Hayes, she whispered, we have a chance to prove your crash was staged. She paused, but it may put Marcus in danger. Do you want us to proceed? Serena's mind screamed an oh, protect Marcus. But then she imagined Grant with conservatorship papers. Nadine signing. Her charities gutted. Her company turned into a weapon. Serena sped her breathing. Yes. Dr. Patel's eyes softened with sorrow. Okay, she whispered. Then we do it smart. If you're watching this and you want the full payoff, how a single piece of footage can collapse an entire empire built on betrayal, subscribe, because the next move Serena makes will force Grant to reveal who he's really working for. And as Dr. Patel left, Serena heard Grant on the phone in the hallway, voice low and urgent. We don't have time. If that footage surfaces, we're done. Who was Grant talking to? Who was we? And if Grant is scared now, what happens when Serena finally gets proof and learns the crash wasn't just business? Was it personal? The court hearing was set for Friday. 2 days. 2 days for Grant to tighten his grip, for Nadine to play family, for Dr. Patel to fight bureaucracy, and for Marcus to retrieve proof before it vanished. Serena lay in the bed, mind awake, listening to the hospital like it was a city under siege. That evening, Marcus returned, breathing slightly heavier, like a man who'd run uphill with a secret. I got it, he whispered. Serena's heart pounded so hard the monitor complained. Marcus pulled a folded envelope from inside his jacket, paper, not a drive, not a file that could be remotely erased. Old school. Smart. Dr. Patel entered behind him, eyes wide. You actually got the footage. Marcus nodded. My cousin didn't want to risk his job, he said. But he hates what people in suits do when nobody's watching. Marcus swallowed. He said, if your story is true, this is bigger than a paycheck. Bigger than a paycheck. That was the niche, right there. True wealth wasn't money, it was integrity under pressure. Dr. Patel opened the envelope carefully. Inside were printed still frames, grainy, time-stamped. Not perfect, but clear enough. Dr. Patel laid them on the tray table and studied them. Serena couldn't see them, but she listened to Dr. Patel's breath. One sharp inhale, then silence. Then, in a voice tight with disbelief, Dr. Patel said, "Oh my God." Marcus leaned in. "What?" Dr. Patel didn't answer immediately. She whispered, "This isn't random." She turned one frame toward Marcus. "Look," she said, "that's your sedan entering the on-ramp." She pointed, "And that's the freight truck." Marcus frowned. "So?" Dr. Patel's voice lowered. "The truck is already positioned, waiting." She tapped another frame. And here, someone steps out of a black SUV behind the barrier. Marcus's tone sharpened. "You can see the person?" Dr. Patel nodded. "Not clearly," she said, "but the posture, the suit." She flipped to another frame. And here, after the crash, before emergency responders arrive, someone approaches the sedan. Approaches. Serena's mind screamed. Dr. Patel whispered, "This person wasn't helping." She pointed. They reach into the driver's side area. Into the driver's side area. Serena's mind flashed to her purse, her phone, her documents. Dr. Patel's voice became colder. "They take something." Marcus muttered, "Cover up." Dr. Patel nodded. "And this," she held up the final frame. Her voice nearly broke. "This is the face." Serena felt time was slow. Marcus inhaled sharply. "No," he whispered. "No way." Dr. Patel's voice was barely audible. "It's Grant." Serena's mind exploded. Grant was there, at the scene, before responders. Meaning, he knew the crash would happen. Or he arrived because he orchestrated it. Either way, he wasn't an innocent executive managing the fallout. He was part of the cause. Serena's heart monitor went wild. Dr. Patel grabbed Serena's hand gently. "Breathe," she whispered. "We need you steady." Marcus's voice shook with anger. He tried to kill her. Dr. Patel nodded. And now he's trying to legally own her. Serena's mind burned with one realization. Grant wasn't just stealing the company. He was stealing her life twice, once with a crash, then with paperwork. But then Dr. Patel said something that made Marcus go quiet. "Look closer at Grant," she whispered. "He's not alone." "Not alone." Dr. Patel pointed at the shadow beside Grant, another figure, partially obscured by the SUV door. Taller, older, familiar silhouette. Marcus stared. "Who is that?" Dr. Patel swallowed. "I can't tell from this." "But," she paused, "that profile." Serena couldn't see, but she could hear Dr. Patel's hesitation, like she was afraid to speak the name because it would change everything. Marcus whispered, "You think it's someone from her life?" Dr. Patel nodded slowly. "Someone with power," she said. "Someone who could move quietly. Someone Grant would call Sir." "Sir?" Serena's mind went cold. Who did Grant call Sir? Board chair? A politician? A mentor? Or someone closer? Dr. Patel gathered the frames quickly. "We need to secure this," she said. "We bring it to the court. We bring it to investigators. And we do not let Grant know we have it until it's on record." Marcus nodded. "He'll come for it." Dr. Patel whispered, "Yes." And right on cue, Serena heard footsteps in the hallway. A familiar, expensive cologne. "Grant." Dr. Patel shoved the envelope into her coat and stepped toward the door like she was just leaving after a routine check. Marcus moved to the corner, pretending to mop. Grant entered, smiling. "Dr. Patel," he said smoothly. "Working late." Dr. Patel returned the smile, too calm. "Patients don't keep business hours." Grant's eyes flicked to Marcus. "And housekeeping is involved now." Marcus didn't look up. "Just doing my job." Grant stepped closer to Serena's bed. His voice softened. "Serena," he whispered, "big day coming up." He paused. "Court stuff. Stressful." He glanced at the monitor. "Try to stay calm." Serena forced herself steady, forced the machine rhythm. Grant stared at her, then at Dr. Patel. "Doctor," he said, "I'm considering moving Serena to a private facility. Somewhere more controlled." Controlled. Dr. Patel's voice was neutral. "Transfers require medical justification." Grant smiled. I'm sure we can find one. Serena's mind screamed. If he moved her, she'd lose Dr. Patel. Lose Marcus. Lose the evidence. Marcus's mop squeaked. Grant's eyes snapped to him. Be careful, Grant said softly. The wrong people get hurt when they stick their noses into things. Marcus froze for half a second, then kept mopping. Grant looked back at Serena, leaned close, and whispered, sleep. Serena's heart monitor spiked, just a little. Grant's smile widened, just a little more. If you were Serena, and you finally had proof the person beside your bed caused your crash, would you expose it immediately, even if it endangered everyone helping you, or would you wait for the perfect moment and risk losing everything? Tell me in the comments. And as Grant left, Dr. Patel exhaled shakily and whispered to Marcus, he knows something. Did Grant sense the evidence was close? And who was that shadow beside him in the footage, the real Sir behind the plan? Friday morning arrived with a strange kind of silence. The kind of silence that comes before a storm breaks. Serena was wheeled through hospital corridors under guard, monitors traveling with her like chains that also doubled as proof of life. Dr. Patel walked beside her bed, shoulders squared. Marcus wasn't allowed to accompany them, but Serena knew he was somewhere behind the scenes, watching doors, listening for threats, being the kind of wealth you can't deposit in a bank. The courthouse annex was sterile and cold, a different kind of hospital, one that treated truth like a procedure and power like a credential. Grant arrived in a suit so perfect it looked rehearsed. Nadine walked beside him like she'd practiced that posture in a mirror, concerned sister, responsible adult, reluctant hero stepping in. Grant spoke to reporters outside the room. Serena couldn't see the cameras, but she heard the performative sighs. We just want what's best, he said. Serena built something extraordinary. We want to protect it while she recovers. Protect it? Dr. Patel leaned close to Serena. Remember, she whispered, you're not powerless here. You're present, and we have evidence. Evidence. The hearing began. A judge spoke in measured tones. Lawyers introduced themselves. The language of law moved slowly, like a river that didn't care who was drowning. Grant's attorney argued competence. Even if there's awareness, he said, communication is inconsistent. Ms. Hayes cannot meaningfully participate in decisions. Dr. Patel rose. Your Honor, she said, I have documentation confirming consistent yes/no communication, witnessed and assessed by an independent evaluator. Grant's attorney smiled politely. A breathing pattern isn't a signature, he said. Then Nadine spoke. Her voice was soft, trembling at the right places. I love my sister, she said, and I don't want her exploited while she's vulnerable. Grant has been supportive. He's been the only one holding things together. Serena's mind burned. Nadine wasn't crying for Serena. She was crying for the role she'd been handed. Dr. Patel requested permission to demonstrate communication in court. The judge allowed it. Dr. Patel addressed Serena, calm and clear. Ms. Hayes, she said, if you can hear me, answer yes by increasing breathing, no by decreasing. The room held its breath. Dr. Patel asked controlled questions first. Name. Birth year. Known facts. Serena answered. Consistent. A ripple moved through the room, disbelief turning into attention. Then Dr. Patel asked the question that mattered. Ms. Hayes, she said, do you want Grant Holloway to have conservatorship over you? Serena slowed her breathing and a murmur spread like electricity. Grant's expression tightened. His attorney stood quickly. This is unreliable, he protested. She could be responding reflexively. Dr. Patel stayed steady. Then let's ask more, she said. She turned to Serena. Ms. Hayes, do you believe Grant Holloway harmed you? Serena sped her breathing. Yes. The room erupted in whispers. The judge banged the gavel for order. Grant's face flashed anger, real raw, before he forced the mask back on. This is outrageous, he said. She's confused. She's traumatized. Then Dr. Patel delivered the blow. Your Honor, she said, we also have visual evidence. Grant froze. Not dramatic. Not obvious. Just a stillness that screamed fear. Dr. Patel handed over the printed frames. The judge examined them. The clerk leaned in. The opposing attorney's confident posture collapsed into tension. Grant's lawyer protested. Chain of custody. Dr. Patel cut in. These are time-stamped frames from a municipal traffic camera. We have the request logs. We have the retrieval record. Grant's eyes flicked toward Nadine, sharp as a blade. Nadine's lips parted slightly, like she hadn't known. Or like she had and didn't expect it to surface. The judge looked up. "Mr. Holloway," he said, voice slow and dangerous, "is that you at the scene of the crash?" Grant swallowed. He tried to smile. "I arrived after I heard." Dr. Patel pointed. "The frame indicates a timestamp before emergency responders were dispatched." "Before." Grant's mask cracked. "Just enough." The judge's voice hardened. "This hearing is suspended pending investigation." Grant's attorney stammered. "Your Honor." The judge raised a hand. "No. Security. Escort Mr. Holloway outside. Now." Grant stepped back, stunned. Then his eyes landed on Serena's bed, and for the first time in this entire story, he looked afraid. Because Serena wasn't a sleeping body anymore. She was an accusation, and now the law was listening. But the final twist wasn't Grant being exposed. It was the shadow beside him. The judge examined the last frame and frowned. "Who is the second individual?" Dr. Patel said quietly, "We don't know yet." At that moment, a new voice spoke from the back of the room, older, authoritative, familiar in the way power always sounds familiar. "I can answer that." The room turned. Serena's mind recognized the voice before she could process why. It was Elliot Hayes, her father, the man who built the first bricks of the Hayes Empire before Serena made it a skyscraper. The man she hadn't spoken to in years because he never approved of how she ran things, how she prioritized profits over people, reputation over relationships. He stepped forward, face carved from regret. "That man in the footage," Elliot said, voice trembling, "was me." Serena's mind went blank. Her father continued, eyes on Serena. "Grant came to me," he said. "He told me you were destroying the company with your charity obsession. He said investors would ruin us. He said you wouldn't listen to anyone." Elliot swallowed hard. "And his voice cracked. "I gave him permission. I thought it would be a scare. A warning. I didn't know he'd go that far." Permission. More permission. Marcus's daddy's words rang like a bell. Rich people don't always have more money. Sometimes they just have more permission. Serena's heart monitor went wild. Dr. Patel whispered, "Breathe." Elliot stepped closer, tears in his voice now. "Serena," he said, "I was wrong." He looked down ashamed. "I spent my life chasing control. I thought money was the only language that mattered. And I forgot," he gestured helplessly. "I forgot you were my daughter before you were a CEO." Serena couldn't speak, but she could answer. Dr. Patel looked at Serena gently. "Ms. Hayes," she asked, "do you want your father to speak to you privately, under supervision?" Serena's breathing slowed and a hush. Elliot flinched like he'd been punched. Serena felt a strange relief, not cruelty but clarity. Wealth hadn't saved her from betrayal. Status hadn't protected her body. The only thing that had kept her alive was genuine human kindness. Marcus risking himself, Dr. Patel fighting the system, strangers choosing integrity. Elliot whispered, "I'll accept that," and stepped back. Grant was escorted out shouting. Nadine stood frozen, shaking, realizing she had bet on the wrong side of the truth. The judge ordered investigations. Conservatorship denied. A criminal inquiry opened. Serena was returned to the hospital with new protections and a new plan, rehabilitation, communication devices, the slow road back to agency. Weeks later, Serena would learn to communicate with eye tracking. Months later, she would speak again, broken at first but real. And when she finally could, her first public statement wasn't about revenge. It was about gratitude. She set up a fund, quiet, not branded, for hospital staff, janitors, and patient advocates. People who did the work nobody applauds. Then she called Marcus into her room. He stood awkwardly, hat in hand, like he still didn't believe he belonged in the story's spotlight. Serena looked at him, eyes open now, voice weak but steady, and she said, "Your father saved me." Marcus swallowed hard. "He'd say you saved yourself," he replied. Serena shook her head slowly. "No," she said, "I learned something in that bed." She paused. "True wealth isn't what you can buy." Another pause, voice catching. "It's who shows up when you can't give them anything." Marcus's eyes shone. "Yeah," he whispered. "That's what he used to say too." And in that moment, Serena understood. The empire she built could be rebuilt. But the kind of human connection that rescued her, that was priceless. If stories like Serena's, where kindness beats power and truth survives greed, matter to you, subscribe, because the next story might remind you what real wealth actually looks like. And Serena's mind lingered on one final question as she stared at the ceiling she once feared. How many people are trapped in silence right now, waiting for someone to believe them? And if the world stripped you of everything, money, status, control, who would still treat you like you mattered?